Networking is one of the most important aspects of business, of your career, and of your life in general. As the old cliche goes, your network is your net worth, and that's incredibly true. Because the fact of the matter is, most of the best jobs or opportunities or partnerships don't always go to the people who are most qualified, they go to the people who are most connected. So in this video, I'm going to share with you guys 6 tips that I've used to network better and make more connections in the business world. The first tip is you have to think outside the box and use other forms of communication. If you are just going to think that you're going to email your way into networking to get a job or an internship, those days are likely over and you're probably wrong. If you think you're just going to be able to call someone up or text someone, it's probably not going to work. If you want to stand out, you have to use other forms of communication, and the best way to do that is through social media. Go on social media and shoot someone a cold DM on Instagram or on X, Twitter, or shoot someone a cold DM on LinkedIn. That makes you stand out a lot more. It makes that person know that you follow them, you're interested in what they're doing, and you'll likely make a better impact and have a better chance of reaching them. Also, another thing is don't be afraid to use social media to display yourself, to talk about yourself, to demonstrate your qualifications. I saw a guy on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, a couple months ago, and what he did was he wrote a tweet thread of essentially his resume, why he was a good fit for the company, tagged the founder of the company and the company, asked X to help him get connected with them so that he could set up a call with them. So essentially what he did was he posted a tweet thread of talk about who he was, what his qualifications were, why he'd be a good fit for the company, tagged the founder, tagged the company, and then the founder ended up responding to his post. They set up a Zoom call and that kid got an internship with that company. If you want to get in touch with really cool founders and you want to stand out, don't be afraid to use social media to, post a video yourself talking about your resume or your qualifications or why you'd be a good fit and just shoot your shot. You never know what can happen. The power of social media is real and you have the opportunity to reach a lot of cool people through social media. So the first tip is to think outside the box. The second tip is, as much as you can, get in person. Go to events, go to job fairs, go to conferences. If you're able to get in front of someone and talk face to face, it's a lot more personable. You're able to talk at much more depth, and you're able to really make more of a connection. I went to a newsletter conference a few months ago, and I was able to talk to people that were in the media space, the people that had newsletters, people that were in advertising, all these different people, and I was able to talk to them and tell them what I was doing, what I was building, what I've done, and then learn about what they're doing, what they've done, and really create a connection that way. Literally at that conference, someone offered me a job pretty much. They said, "Hey, I'm looking for younger people that know a lot about finance and economics. Seems like you have a good background in it. Let me know if you'd ever want to come be a writer for some of my newsletters." He had a company that had a bunch of newsletters. And I was like, "Oh, wow, like that's really cool." And that's something that probably wouldn't happen if I didn't get face to face with him and didn't get a chance to speak with him and have him really understand like who I was a little bit more as a person. There's something to be said about talking to someone face to face than there is, communicating online. So the second tip is get in person as much as possible. My third tip, and this is a lot more broad, is just be bold. Be bold with networking. Don't be scared to send a message. Don't be scared to shoot a cold DM. Don't be afraid to cold call someone. Just go out and do it. Be bold. You have to take risks and reach out to people as much as you can if you really want to get a really cool job or your dream internship. So tip number 3 is be bold. Tip number 4 is show interest in the person or company and show that you have a knowledge of the person, of the job, and of the company. If you're sending out a cold DM, you can't just say, "Hey, I really like this job at your company. Are you hiring?" Send out a very personal message. Like demonstrate that you know that you've done research about the company, that you've researched the person, that you've researched the position and why you might be a good fit for it. That will go a lot further and help you get, hopefully open the door for a conversation, open the door for an interview. Maybe you get the job off that. But that shows that you're willing to go the extra mile, you're willing to do the research, and you're willing to stand out in that way. So tip number 4 is show that you're interested and show that you have knowledge of the company, the person, and the position. Tip number 5 is don't be afraid to offer and ask. If you ever get into a position where you're DMing or emailing or messaging with someone, or say you even get in an interview or you have a phone call with someone, don't be afraid to say offer something that you can do for them to add some value to their business. Maybe you offer up Something you found on their website that was off, so you help them fix it and you're adding value that way. Maybe you can offer up an introduction to somebody. Maybe you can offer up, some cool tips or something that you might know about XYZ. I don't know. But don't be afraid to add an offer in there, add some value to, the person you're trying to network with. And also the second half of that is don't be afraid to ask. If you ever get onto an interview, if you ever get onto a networking call, if you ever get into, a discussion where you're communicating via DMs on LinkedIn or, Twitter or whatever that may be, don't be afraid just to come out and ask for the job. Ask for the internship. Ask how you can get it. That was something that I did a lot when I was kind of fresh out of college, like going through the interview process. I would say at the end of my interviews, what's standing in the way of me getting this job? Or how can I make sure that I'm putting myself in the best position to get this job? And then you get an answer, and then oftentimes once you get that answer, you can overcome any objections that they might have to you. How I got my job was I saw my boss, who has a pretty big profile on LinkedIn and X. I saw him post something on X. I clicked on his profile, saw that you could book a call with him. I booked a call with him, and on that call, I literally just straight out and said, "Hey, are you hiring? Do you have any jobs for me?" And out of the blue, he was like, "Yeah, actually, I am looking to bring someone on. You seem like a good fit." And literally, I had the job in 3 days. That's how I got it. I literally found an opportunity, found that I could book a call with someone that I was interested in working for him, and literally just on that call, straight up asked for the job. I mean, what's the worst someone can say? No. Okay, they say no, and then you move on to the next one. But if they say yes, and it's like, well, thank God you asked for it. Thank God you were direct and asked for what you wanted. So step number 5 is don't be afraid to offer something of value, and don't be afraid to just ask for the job or ask for something you want. But be respectful. And lastly, tip number 6 is make sure you're following up respectfully. If you send someone a message or send someone a cold email or a cold DM, whatever, you make sure you follow up. You can't just expect sometimes these entrepreneurs, these founders, these hiring directors, these HR representatives, they're busy people. Sometimes your message just gets lost in the shuffle. So don't be afraid to respond or follow up respectfully. If you send out a message, give it a couple days if they haven't read it or responded, and follow up respectfully. Kind of a rule of thumb I've learned is, you can follow up 3 times respectfully, and if you haven't heard back, then it's kind of time to move on. But, I mean, really, from my experience, if I followed up once or twice, a lot of the times if I get a message back, it's, "Hey, thanks for following up. Thanks for putting this at the top of my inbox. Kind of had a busy week, kind of got lost in the shuffle." Because a lot of times that happens. So make sure you're following up on your messages, your emails, your DMs, your posts, whatever you are doing to connect with people. Make sure you follow up and follow up respectfully. Don't be spamming someone. Don't be following up every day. Don't ever get rude or snippy in an email if you don't hear back, because that is a huge turnoff for a lot of people. But at the same time, it is important to follow up because you can get lost in the shuffle a lot of times. Those are 6 tips, 6 things that I've been using to network better and create more connections, and it's helped me tremendously. I hope you guys can take some of these and use them yourself. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, drop a comment if you want to add any tips to these networking pieces of advice that I've just given. And thank you guys so much for watching this one, and we'll see you next time.